is Dan Oak, and I was a student taking the course Computer Science 308, Java for Programmers through Athabasca University. And I just noticed that my tutor-marked exercise assignment 1 was graded. And I noticed in the comments here, it says, thank you for your work. Your programs 1, 2, and 4 work very nice with nice codes, but there is no source code for program 3. It says codes embedded in PDF documents is not acceptable, which I completely agree with. I just want to let you know that I included PDF documents, not for you to pull up the source code, but just more or less they're kind of living documents that I use for note taking. Basically, I highlight a bunch of things in the original two-mark exercise with this weird color coding system I use just to help keep me on track and make sure I meet all the criteria of the two-mark assignment or hit all the deliverables. And then I also just have this weird color coding system in my head as I go, just that helps me keep notes. And as I need to look things up on Stack Overflow or Google or whatever, that I just keep sometimes notes of that. And then as I make changes to code, like say if I decide to do code in one way, and then I make changes to that, I will often just keep the old code in my notes and then have the new revisions lower. That way, when I'm reading it over, I understand, okay, this is why I did it this way originally, this is why I changed it. But yeah, in no way do I expect you to pull source code out from any of my PDF documents. And unfortunately, I have put PDF documents that have code in them in all of my submissions for my two-mark exercises. But again, they're more or less, they're notes, really. The code should be in the zip file. So it says, again, there's no source code for program 3 and no test plan for program 4. And no objective questions. The objective questions I didn't specifically do because I knew they were a very small portion. I just had a lot of courses going at the same time and a lot of personal stuff at home, work and family stuff. Not that that doesn't matter for you, but I didn't necessarily answer the objective questions, but I did do extra programs accidentally when I was doing this two-mark exercise because I didn't like using the vital source PDF. The textbook available through the course, so I downloaded a PDF version. I didn't like using vital source, so I downloaded a PDF version so I could make highlights better and stuff because I found this one wasn't always reliable. The highlights didn't always work. So I downloaded a PDF version and the page numbers seemed to be off. So I ended up doing the wrong exercises first before realizing that the page numbers didn't jive with the vital source thing, and I redid exercises. So the original exercise I did, I kind of counted as objective questions, but that's fine if they don't count. That's kind of what my rationality for not doing those questions were. But program 3 and 4, I do believe I've done. I just posted this comment showing what I had in the code that I submitted for program 3, which is the cycle hierarchy. But also, if I download my zip file, which I just downloaded a couple times, but my recording kept shutting off. If I download my zip file and open it up here, extract it, all that stuff, extract it all. I've got 2 monitors coming off, so some stuff's happening off screens here. But I open my source file, and in exercise.java, so ExerciseTest.java, so this is the source file I submitted with, my circle test, full name, mailing address, all that stuff, my music, which is one of the exercises, music 5, which I believe is exercise 4, or program 4. But ExerciseTest. Let me move that. ExerciseTest.java does contain the cycle hierarchy, which is program. Let me see here. Which is program 3. So program 3 says complete exercise 5 on page 286 of TIJ. So in Thinking in Java on page 286, exercise 5 basically says, starting from exercise 1, add a wheels method. Add a wheels method in cycle, which returns the number of wheels. Modify ride to call wheels and verify that polymorphism works. And then, so therefore, you have to go to exercise 1, which is up here somewhere. I had to go back a little while. Maybe. Well, wherever exercise 1 is, it basically, you essentially have to just extend off that. So Okay, so exercise 1, I'd have to click back, but extend off exercise 1, that's the exercise, the program, and so this is what I had for that. So basically I'm extending off that, Athabasca University, Column 308, blah, 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 numeric exercise 1, exercises 3 and 4. So this code was for exercise 3 and 4 because I put the exercises together in their code, but this is my cycle hierarchy. Basically I have a base class, cycle class, and again, this is a mixture of exercise 1 and 5, because exercise 5 modifies exercise 1. So taking the code from exercise 1, class, cycle, it has a wheels method, which returns 0. This is just default implementation. The ride method just says riding a cycle with plus wheels. The wheels method obviously returning the number of wheels as an int. And then every one of my subclasses, like unit class, which is a subclass of cycle, representing unicycle, i.e. one wheel, just overrides the wheels method, hence I put the override annotation. And again, wheels method takes no arguments, returns an int, public method, and it returns 1. So since unicycle is 1 wheel. And then I do a similar thing for bicycle, which returns 2 wheels. Tricycle returns 3 wheels. This is, oh, okay, so this might be some confusion. This is originally what I had for exercise 4. Class, first exception, I had done a different exercise because my page numbers didn't line up. But both exercises 3 and 4 I had in the same thing. This is just obviously not the right exercise 4. But still shouldn't matter because it's sort of separate. Because then in the class demo, correction, in exercise test, which actually the main method, where the main method is, I still do the cycle thing. So this exercise, testing exercise 3, cycle hierarchy, polymorphism, I create a cycle one-dimensional array, so a one-dimensional array of cycles, and I fill it with a unicycle, a bicycle, and a tricycle, and then I use an enhanced for loop or for each loop to iterate through cycles, pulling out a cycle at a time, and calling the ride method, which will, again, based in the hierarchy, the ride method from the cycle class, from the base class, calls the wheels method when it's outputting, doing a println. It calls the wheels method, which is overridden in each cycle, so we'll put the correct amount of wheels. So that is what I had for program 3. And then the other part of this is what I thought was program 4 originally, which was my first exception. And second, it was just something I did because I didn't have the page numbers right, because I downloaded a PDF version of the textbook. But if I run this, I'm hesitant to run this. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to stop the video and then run it, because oftentimes when I run this, the compilation power to run this program will shut off the recording. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try to run it, and hopefully it doesn't screw up. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Recording still going? Good. Okay. Half the time the recording shuts off. So basically the output is riding a cycle with 1 wheel, riding a cycle with 2 wheels, riding a cycle with 3 wheels. Again, I probably could have, now looking at this too, yeah, it says cycle instead of unicycle. So I definitely could have changed this. But the point is that program 3 is done. There's some different things I could have done for sure. Now, just even looking at this now, riding a cycle, I would have liked to say riding a unicycle. I could have done some stuff like called get class name or get simple name, and wrote the actual, basically relied on that. Or I could have overridden the ride method in each of the subclasses. I only overrode wheels because that's kind of how I interpreted it. They just wanted you to override wheels, and therefore this ride method used polymorphism. But again, there's different ways I could have also had cycle change to be unicycle bicycle. However, the exercise still was just to kind of like have the right wheels output, so that's what I did. And this other thing, testing exception handling, this has to do with what I originally thought program 4 was. So I might actually just show why I thought that that was program 4. So again, this is meant to be just notes, really. See, I kind of have it labeled as 2 numeric exercise 1, test plans, exercise questions, blah, blah. But it really is meant to be notes. But I do have like kind of a little note here of what happened. So yeah, originally supposed to complete program 4, complete exercise 10 on page 320 of Thinking in Java. I wrote here that this is the wrong exercise 10 in my notes. So exercise 10 that I did was create a class with two methods, f and g. In G, it throws an exception of a new type that you define, so I defined the exception. And in F, I call G, catch its exception, so the exception that G ultimately throws. And in the catch clause, I then throw a different exception. So in my catch clause for where I called, in my try, I called F. And then in the catch clause, I throw a different exception of a second type that I defined, so two defined exception types. And then I test that in my main code. And I did put a little note here. Note, I downloaded a PDF of the Thinking in Java text hook, can't talk, instead of using the vital source version, and the page numbers didn't quite match up. However, I then did do the correct exercise 10 here. I just left the other one just so as part of, hey, this is some, other stuff I did, like in lieu of the questions in that particular case. Although, if it's not marked, that's fine. But exercise 3 was this, or program 3 was this thing here, exercise 5. And I only had exercise 1 here. I've included this here. Again, in my notes, I added these things just to indicate, because exercise 5 says starting from exercise 1, so I need to know what exercise 1 was. And again, these are all just notes. That's all this stuff is. So this is not meant for you to pull source code. This is more or less for me to keep color coding and why I did certain things the way I did. Test plans for like the circle and full name. And I like to highlight my notes, J5 annotations and methods. Again, I'm kind of new to program. I'm kind of jumping in through here, so I'm trying to learn as much as possible. I'm keeping living documents. So like annotations are new for me. So and methods over. So I'm like, I'll keep notes on every annotation. And I did use assertion methods. I actually didn't know if I kept that in, and obviously I did because you're saying not to use them. That was something I did when I learned, this is kind of a cool way to do this. This takes care of a lot of things, but I understand why you wouldn't want that done, because then, obviously it's doing some of the work. But as you can see, some of my test plan, like in the test plan for this, there's no assertions. I'm not using assertions in this. I'm just testing it via main. So just by, creating this array, iterating through it, and seeing if the ride method works, uses polymorphism for each subclass, and therefore pulls up the correct number. So yes, for that one, I did just use regular testing, but you're right, I did use assertions for Java, and that's fine if you're not supposed to. Obviously, I accept that. I just wanted you to know that I did do program 3, at least, according to what I thought program 3 was at the end, on page 286, Thinking in Java, which, it does appear to be that case. Because again, Thinking in Java, page 286, for me, even now in Vital Source, does show to do the wheels hierarchy. And yeah, so these are all just notes. But as far as test plans go, I'll just go quickly. Yeah, this is just a weird color coding thing I do, and I also do this because originally I had plans of doing more videos. I've done in my other courses I've done a lot of videos, so I kind of make a script for myself that I'm talking through to keep me on point, and some of these notes help with that. But this is even showing my, even my test plan was designed a single test class that executes and demonstrates both programs. Again, what I originally thought both programs were, which was the program 3 cycle hierarchy, demonstrating polymorphism, and program 4 exception handling with method chain. And so the main test class to execute both programs was this. But I wasn't expecting you to grab the code from here, like this is the cycle hierarchy. This is just showing me how to do it. But I wouldn't, test plan 1 was just doing this. Test case 1, initiate unicycle and call ride. And riding a cycle with 1 wheel, 2 wheels, blah, blah, blah. For program 4, what I originally thought program 4, there wasn't much testing because you're going to call G directly. That's going to throw an exception. It's raised but not tested in provided code. Then when I call F, which calls G, it does, it catches the second exception, all that stuff. Program 4, this is the correct program. And I wouldn't expect you to go through all this, so I understand why. But although you did mark program 4, so obviously you did see it in there. The real exercise 4 referred to mark exercise 1 is this program 4, which is doing this, modify this. But you're right, I did use Java assertions for testing in that, I believe, so definitely not to do it. And this is just a lot of notes I'm keeping. So this is all just, this is really just for me. And then obviously, whenever I wasn't using IntelliJ and I was using command prompt, I just copied and pasted this to save myself time. But again, I just want to let you know I did do program 3. It's just in this ExerciseTest.java within the source code zip file I uploaded. So thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a quick email or comment, and I'll try to read it. Again, apologize for submitting everything last day, but again, I'm in no hurry to get the marks back. I just happened to look and see that you had graded something, but by no means feel obligated to get through that with any speed.